Hello everyone, and welcome to Esonet, the Esoteric Network, where I talk about all things esoteric, spiritual, and supernatural. Today, I'm going to talk about Ouija boards, what they are, risks associated, and why you should probably never, and I mean never use them. At the end of this video, I will present an interesting piece of trivia, which many of you will find interesting, and some might find spine-chilling. A Ouija board, also known as a spirit board, is essentially a tool used to contact the spirits. It consists of a flat board with letters and numbers and a planchette that moves around upon the medium's contact, spelling words and delivering such things as messages and responses. The history of Ouija board goes back a long way, a very long way, to ancient China, in fact. Though the modern history started after the American Civil War, where the great loss of life in that conflict created a demand for people to want to communicate with their departed relatives and loved ones. Nearly every family was affected in one way or the other by that brutal conflict. Ouija boards are not a toy and nothing to be toyed with. They are a powerful divination tool that open the physical realm to the supernatural. They effectively open a doorway to the other side. Now, you might be asking, why are they dangerous? What is so hazardous about them? What can go wrong? Well, to put it simply, a lot. A lot can go wrong. Let me explain. 99% of people who use them, figuratively speaking, are not qualified, nor are they equipped to handle Ouija boards. I have been dismayed to see people who have no idea about psychic protection or the potency of a spiritual realm and the power of supernatural forces using these devices as if they are just a plaything or an amusement game. Where the danger lies is that Ouijas are a gateway to the supernatural realm. Once this gateway is opened, you don't know who is going to come through and how many. You might summon a malevolent entity, or worse, a gang of malevolent entities. And once they are in through the gate, it might be very difficult to put them out, if at all. Yes, I'm referring to possession. Demonic possession can indeed take place via using a Ouija. Another thing that may go wrong is poltergeist, where a home or residence becomes a playing ground for malevolent entities. Objects moving, furniture being thrown around, etc., etc. Even if it seemingly goes well, it may indeed not be. Very often, a bored spirit, or worse, a mischievous entity, might pretend to be your deceased loved ones in order to have fun and give you false communications. So my advice is not to touch a Ouija at all and stay safe. Your spiritual safety is worth far more than you realize. However, I do admit that 1% of people can use them and can use them masterfully. I was privileged to meet such a person at a young age who had turned this practice into an art form. He was a distinguished and a retired Army colonel with extensive experience with the supernatural. Being a military commander, he was used to being in command, and this extended to his spiritual work. He ran the operation with military precision, so to speak. First of all, he didn't work alone when using a Ouija. He had two assistants who, in their own rights, were powerful mediums. One of them was his own daughter, who he trusted immensely. These acted like gatekeepers. They made sure the gate is heavily guarded. He also had an assistant in the spiritual realm, his deceased wife from a different life. She acted as the check-in person to make sure the spirit that shows up is indeed the one whose name is on the list. He often said to us kids, and he said it cheerfully, do not play with this. I'll make it look easy. And he was right. At the beginning of this video, I promised to share an interesting trivia in relation to this subject. And here we go. Many of you are familiar with the genre-defining masterpiece, the movie Exorcist. Needless to say, what a revolution this movie was at the time, it is still considered a cinematic masterwork as a classic. This movie was inspired by the true story of a child experiencing demonic possession and helped by a Catholic priest. In real life, the kid was a boy, something the movie makers changed. They must have thought the possessed child being a girl makes a better story and is probably more dramatic as far as the movie is concerned. And thankfully, the priest did not take his own life in real life. Thanks God for that. However, here is the scary real life component of this story. The boy summoned the demon by using a Ouija board. And that is how he got possessed in real life. Kids are particularly vulnerable in this situation and should never touch Ouijas. And some businesses marketing Ouijas as toys to children is very, very unethical. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed.